All right. We started last week in saying that how we see ourselves, our circumstances and opportunities has a major impact on what we say and do. There's a story I heard about a guy who, after years and years of not seeing his school friends, went out one day, saw a school friend in a beautiful top-of-the-line Mercedes. So they met, they talked, then the guy went home and he said to his wife, "My life is finished. I'm a loser, my life is useless." His wife said, "Why?" "Well, I saw one of my school friends today, he's driving top-of-the-line Mercedes, beautiful, kitted out, and look at me. Look at my life, look at us." He then found out that his friend was a driver for his boss, and he was just taking the car out to get it cleaned. His perception, yes? And we're like that sometimes. We look at other people, we see what they're doing, how they're progressing and what have you. And if we're really honest, sometimes we kind of get a little bit jealous. And we can sometimes complain to God or complain to people, why have they got it and I haven't got it? Well, you have to look further behind that. You have to look behind what they did. These guys in Numbers chapter 13, these spies, these leaders, went out. The Bible says, but the men who had gone up with him, with Caleb that was, we are not able, they said, to go up against the people. We are not able. They're speaking for everybody. Do you know anybody who speaks for everybody? Everybody thinks, no they don't, because you haven't done the research. We are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we are. They were bigger. Nobody said they were stronger. It says, and they gave the children of Israel a bad report of the land which they had spied out. Be careful who's talking on your behalf. Yeah? Careful who's talking on your behalf. The land through which we have gone has spies the land through which we have gone has spies in it, a land that devours its inhabitants. That doesn't mean it has to do it to you. Yes? Just because a few people failed at business, don't mean you will. Just because few people failed at the job you've got now, don't mean you will. Just because a few people moved out of the area because of the area, don't mean you do. Yes? Perception. It says this, all of the people whom we saw in it are men of great stature. This is useful for you single ladies when looking for a prospective husband. Just because he's great in stature does not mean he's got great content or character. That's just for the single ladies. There we saw giants. The descendants of Anak came from the giants, and we were like grasshoppers in whose sight? In our own sight? They're speaking for themselves, right? We were, based on what we've seen, we look like grasshoppers. Anybody ever looked at a situation, looked at a circumstance, looked at an opportunity and said, based on that, I don't think I can do it? Anybody ever done that apart from me? All right. They said we were like grasshoppers in our own sight. Cool, that's for you, but don't speak for me. That's for you, don't speak for me. It says, and so we were in their sight. My problem is they never ever spoke to the giants. So how did they know this? Anybody else read the Bible the way I do? I ask questions when I read the Bible. I'm like, there's nowhere in the text where it says the giants said to them, you guys look like grasshoppers. This was all going on where? In their head. There's a saying that says, watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your thoughts, they become words. Last week we talked about the fact that God sent the people into the land to spy it out, not because it was his idea. God tells Moses to send the spies in to spy out the promised land. It was not his idea to do it. The people asked Moses, please let us go and spy out the land. Jesus said, blessed are those who have not seen, but yet they believe. Deuteronomy 1:22 to 23. This was not God's idea, but the people's idea. Number two, the people initially wanted to know the best way to go and take the land. I've got questions already, but we'll get to those. They are now close to the promised land, so they want to explore it. This would give them intel on how to possess the land. Has anybody got a question for me there? I'll give you the question. Do they need to go and spy out a land that God has promised to give them, and he's able to show them how to do it? Bearing in mind, they've been walking with God through the wilderness, right? He's been feeding them. He's been doing miracles, signs, and wonders. Why do they need to spy out the land? Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't do research. Don't go and plan and strategize. I'm not saying that, but they're walking with God. He's been carrying them through the wilderness. Do they need to spend 40 days trying to gain intel about the land God could have shown them? Does anybody about from me think they didn't need to really do that? 40 days is 6 weeks. Have you ever spent time doing something when you could have just asked somebody the question of yourself? Somebody's got the intel. Somebody's got the information. But sometimes stubborn and rebellious people, not you, me, go and find out information themselves when they can get it from people. People I call subject matter expertise. For instance, depending on how you see this, you might think I'm a little bit lazy. When I walk into a supermarket to find something, I do not try and find it on my own. There are staff in there who know where everything is. I walk through the door, excuse me, could you tell me where to find the ackee and saltfish? Oh, I think that's in aisle 19. Now, my beautiful, darling wife is not like that. My beautiful, darling wife will walk round all of the lanes. Yeah, she's getting her steps in. All the lanes to find it. I'm saying, babe, let's just ask somebody. No, I'll find it myself. She gets her steps in. But you see, sometimes you spend time doing things you don't need to because somebody's got the information. So these spies, these leaders go into the land and they bring back what's called an evil or a bad report. The intel they bring back is bad. For me, I see two things. I see some facts. It's not what they said, it's the way they said it. They said that the land is flowing with milk and honey and it has fruit there. Is that facts? Yes? No? Tick. Okay. They said the people living in the land are powerful. Facts? Tick. There's no doubt or unbelief there, is there? It's just facts. They said that the towns are large and well fortified. Again, facts. They said they saw giants there, the descendants of Anak, and I think this is at the point where it starts to go a little bit murky. Because they start to focus on the giants. Bearing in mind they've got God, they got the giants, and they got the ground they got to possess. They tend to focus on the giants. The difference between a mountain and a molehill is your perspective. That's the difference. The difference between a mountain and a molehill is your perspective. One of the most powerful things, church, we can do is moving our perception to perspective. We talked about this a little bit last week. Let me give you a definition of perception. Perception is my interpretation of the way I see me, my circumstances, and the opportunities, and the world. That's perception. Perspective doesn't begin until I solicit your perception as to how I am, the world, the situation, and the circumstances. You're still looking at me a little bit. Okay. I said to my wife one time, I think I'm the greatest husband ever. She laughed. Am I wrong? I've got my perception. But until I find out what she sees, I don't have perspective. How about, anybody ever seen X Factor? The singer goes up, they do their audition. Simon Cowell says, no thanks, not for me. And the singer looks with a blank face like, did you hear me sing? Are you not hearing how great I am? Perception. But their perspective is getting a little bit of a changing when he says, no, not in a million years. I do, though, like the people who go away and come back and better. But most people don't do that. Most people don't do that. They live in their perception. The Bible says this in Proverbs. You find, this is paraphrased, you find counsel in the multitude of wisdom. Or in fact, let me quote it. Without counsel, plans go awry. But in the multitude of counselors, they are established. In other words, without counsel, assembly, conversation, or intimacy with God, which these people should have had, plans, their imaginations, their inventions, their purpose, their thoughts, or their work go awry. They break up, they cease, they get disappointed, they get frustrated, or they get voided. But means forget what you heard before. In the multitude, abundance, excellence, greatness, much plenty of counselors, advisors, consulting people together, deliberating on purpose, you get establishment. Everybody understand why you would seek counsel? How important is it to see other people's perceptions, which shapes your perspective? All right, how about then, have you ever tried to coach somebody, a novice, who knows all the answers? Some of you, they know all the answers, right? So they don't need a coach. So in their minds, their perception, they're all good. But they're a novice. So they can't be that good. Yes? And don't get me wrong, all of us are novices on some levels. When it comes to social media, your boy's a novice. I'm just novice. So I sit down and I talk with people who are really passionate about social media. What can I do? How do I do this? How do I do that? That's seeking counsel. How about people who ask for feedback, then look bemused when you give it to them? You ever come across people like that, or is it just my people? They ask for feedback. I always tell people when you go to the north of England, do not ask a question you don't want the answer to. Ladies, if you go there and speak to a northern guy and say, how's my hair? He's going to tell you. Guys, if you go there and say, I've got a six-pack, they might laugh and say it's a one keg. Yeah? They're honest. Sometimes when I go back home, I think that my family and people there are very, very insulting because I've been in the South long. But they tell you, they give you the feedback you ask for. So to go from perception to perspective, we must actively listen, learn, and leverage from other people's experiences, thoughts, and viewpoints. Are we understanding now how to go from your perception to perspective? Everybody good with that? All right. The spies, their perspective was this: facts without factoring God or Moses, what he said. They had the facts, but they did not factor in what God had said or Moses had said. Moses told them before, let's go and take the land. But they say, no, we've got some spies and we've got to do this. God says, I'm giving you the land. But they've got their own perception. Secondly, they had fear without faith to believe that with God all things are possible. Ever been in that situation before? 10 of them said we're not able because of who they are. Caleb said we're able because of who we are. It's perspective. One saying we can't do it because of who we are, one saying we can. Who's right? Both of them are right. The power of words is immense. A well-chosen word has often sufficed to stop a flying army, to change defeat into victory, and to save an empire. Words do matter, but your words come from your thinking, your perception. That's where your words come from. And so, Dr. Harry Cohen, a PhD, said this: our inner voice has the potential to break the greatest ally. That's what he says. He talks about self-talk. He says self-talk is a dual-edged mental tool that can either help us or trap us. In other words, what you're saying to yourself is either helping you or trapping you. Research shows that self-talk, he says, can be transformed into a tool for resilience or success. Think about the word resilience and success. He says negative self-talk decreases confidence and raises our stress levels. Negative self-talk. This is not what anybody else is saying. This is what I'm saying. He says positive self-talk provides increased confidence, motivation, and improves decision making. This is without anybody else. Just what you say to you. I'm seeing this firsthand live with my newest grandson. When I see him, I smile and say, "You mighty man of valor." So now I can walk into a room and he can be busy in that room, and as soon as he sees me, he's peeking his head out. "You mighty man of valor." This is what I'm saying to him. It breeds confidence. This guy jumps without knowing if there's anything there. And we're having to watch him. But that's how you talk to yourself. That's how you should talk to yourself. Proverbs 18:21 says it this way: just in case you think I'm falling off the edge and going too into the coaching world, Proverbs tells us this anyway. The Bible tells us lots of things that people say they've founded or came up with. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. And those who love it, it will eat its fruit. What does that mean to you? You can speak positive, you can speak negative. Either way, however you love to speak, that's the fruit you're going to get. Yeah? So if you keep calling your children stupid, then wonder why they get E, F, and G. Yeah? If you keep saying your spouse is a waste, then they manifest waste. You can have what you say. If you keep saying, "Oh, that boss of mine, what a loser," and then you're wondering why the company loses. You're the light. You're the salt in the situation. You're supposed to be speaking life. How about, "I'm just good for nothing"? This is not nobody else saying it to you. This is you saying it to you. Because I think we're programmed to go to the negative and speak death, not life. And then our mindset, then now we're not looking to see the life in the situation. So because we're self-talking negative to ourselves, what do we do with everybody else? "How are you?" "I'm bad. I'm down. I'm this." Facts. I'm not saying don't admit the facts. But at some point, you're going to have to say something to change the facts. Yes? I'm not saying I have a six-pack and doing no training. I'm not saying that at all. You've got to put the work in. Faith without is, you show me your faith without works, I'll show you my works without faith. You need both. So death and life are in the positive power of the tongue. The difference between winners and losers is not the obstacles. It's how they see the obstacle and what they say. We all face obstacles, don't we? Everybody has tests. Everybody has trials. Everybody has tribulations of some sort. Yours might not be mine, mine not be yours. But we all have obstacles, yes? All right. Here's what winners do with obstacles. They see them as opportunities to become champions. That's what winners do. I know this is challenging, but this is what winners do. They see obstacles as opportunities to become champions. Those of you who are into sports or into football, to be a champion, you've got to beat other would-be champions, right? You can't be beating nobodies and thinking you're a champion. You have to beat champions. You've got to compete. I'm a big boxing fan, and recently there was a fight between a legendary champion, so to speak, and a would-be legendary champion, Terence Crawford. Don't know if any of you saw the fight. But it was a school lesson. Because Crawford said, I didn't win this fight tonight. I won it back when I was 5, 6 years old. What I did in the past leading up to this. Winners see obstacles as an opportunity to become a champion. You remember David? David walks up to bring sandwiches to his brothers. Brothers who didn't like him, by the way. But they're trained military guys. And the giant's in the land, isn't he? Goliath. He's cursing and swearing at the Israelites. Saul, Mr. King, what's he doing? Cowering in his tent. David, the shepherd boy, walks up and says, who's he? What's he saying? Is only me hearing this? None of you guys are hearing what he's saying. And David does what? He checks out first. I heard the king say that whoever takes this guy out, because you've got to negotiate. You've got to negotiate. Whoever takes this guy out, he's going to get my daughter in marriage, plus he's going to live with me in the kingdom. So he checks that out first, gets that straight, and then he goes and speaks to the giant or to somebody else. He speaks to the giant. Yes? He speaks to the giant. He goes and speaks to Goliath. Who is this uncircumcised Philistine? Or in South terms, don't draw me out. Yeah? He speaks to him. Winners see opportunities or obstacles as opportunities for championships, to become champions. Here's what losers do. Losers see obstacles as opportunities to become cowards. That's what losers do. They walk into the game going, we've lost already. Well, no, it's 11v11. If everybody wins their individual battles, we play together as a team, we defend well, we attack well, we can do it. Losers go, I can't take that line manager, so I'm leaving. Sorry if you've done that before. They don't see it as an opportunity to become champion. Oh, I don't agree with everything in the church, so I'm leaving. Not you. Not you. These guys down there. That's what losers do. You can never, ever become a champion if you walk away from obstacles and opportunities and battles. Some people walk away from their marriages because they think the grass is greener on the other side, but it still needs cutting. It does. Yeah? If I leave my spouse, somebody else will be more perfect. There's only one problem. You're the same. Because when you leave, you take who with you? Yes? So nothing's changing because you're the same. I know you're not losers. Either way, winners and losers say something. Everybody's talking. Which ultimately, whatever they say, determines what they will and won't do. Let's wrap up with what Caleb said. Caleb said 4 things. And these 4 things give us some insight into maybe what we should be saying when we come up against obstacles. Number 1, Caleb told the people, calm down. Take a chill pill. Calm down. Relax. Hush. Don't get hyped. Just calm down. We know there's giants there. We know we got to go in and take the land. But listen, calm down first. Yes? There was a time in my life I wasn't calm. Obstacle comes, I'm ready to go postal. Then you fly in, and then you find out, oops, there's no flooring. And you're over the edge. You have to be calm. Number 1, he said to them, calm down. Because the report these guys have brought brings on that stress. Brings on that mental stress that says, oh gosh, now God's brought us out of this land to kill us. He's brought us out of Egypt. We should have died in Egypt, or we should have died in the wilderness. He's brought us out to kill us, and now he's bringing us into a land where we're going to get killed. Our wives, our kids are going to get killed. Caleb says, calm down. Second thing he says, Caleb gave the people a clear command, not a suggestion. Clear command, not a suggestion. He doesn't say to them, well, calm down, but we possibly could take it. No. He says, calm down, we can go and take this land. Is anybody here confused about what Caleb's saying? Is he saying we're going to try? Or is he saying we're going to do it? Clear command, not a suggestion. The third thing he says, he spoke with a sense of urgency. Let's go when? Now. Because you could say we can go take the land in 5 years. What's wrong with now? What's wrong with now? You could say, oh, I'll get that promotion in 5 years. What's wrong with now? You could say, I'll start that business. I've got all the expertise. I've got all the knowledge. I've got the skills. I'll start it in 5 years' time. Well, what's wrong with now? I'm not saying to do it now, but I'm just asking the question, what's wrong with now? I'll get saved later. But what's wrong with now? Because the Bible says, when's the time of salvation? Now. Yes? Today's the day of salvation. Now. Caleb gives them a sense of urgency. And the final thing Caleb does is he says this. He spoke with confidence by telling the people, come on, we can do this. We can do this. You will be amazed how many skilled, talented, educated, knowledgeable people do not believe they can be a success. You wouldn't believe it. I come across so many skilled, talented, knowledgeable superstars in the making who don't believe they can do it. This is not the world saying they can't do it. This is not their parents. This is not the church. This is not their bosses. It's them. Caleb said, come on, we can do this. Turn to somebody next to you saying, come on, we can do this. We can do this. Come on. We want to develop a vibrant, diverse, what? Multi-generational. That is, come on, we can do this. Turn to your neighbor and say, come on, we can do this. We can do this. Face the facts, church. Face the facts of your life with faith. The facts are the facts. But face them with faith. Face them with faith and speak life, don't speak death. I've got some challenges for you as we wrap up. Do you speak to yourself? Question. Do you speak to yourself? Second question. How have you been speaking to yourself? Life or death? Yeah? What are you saying about your circumstances? Because we've all got circumstances. They be circing and they be stancing. Everybody's got circumstances. How do you speak about the opportunities you are presented with? One of the things I tell my children all the time, don't curse your blessing. Because you can get a blessing, you can get an opportunity that's a phenomenal blessing, and you curse it by complaining. What are you saying? How do you speak about the opportunities you're presented with? Here's a challenge for you. How many people up for a challenge? How many people want to go and take possession of what they've been called to do? Okay, I got 5. Here's the challenge, Micah. For the next 21 days, speak nothing but life. Speak nothing but life into yourself and see how that impacts your sphere of influence. 21 days. What date are we on today? 28. So we start today. Yeah, forget what you did this morning. Forget what you said this morning. But from today, let's speak nothing but life for 21 days. Let's see how that changes you. But let's see how that impacts the people and the circumstances around you.
Thank you for listening to the message today. We hope it blessed you. And if it did, please like, comment and subscribe for more videos from Micah. And don't forget to click the notification bell to see when they're uploaded. Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you in the next one.